Norway reached 94% market share on battery electric vehicles in August 2024. 94%, and that's battery electric. That does not include plug-in hybrids, it does not include light hybrids, it's just pure battery electric vehicles. And we also saw a significant decline in sales of both plug-in hybrids and mild hybrids from August last year. Very significant decrease from about 70% decrease in sales for these plug-in hybrids and mild hybrids. So 94% of all new car sales in Norway in August 2024 are battery electric. Around 20% of them have been Teslas, and the rest are just other brands that offers battery electric vehicles. This is the first time ever, and you might remember a few years back, Norway committed to setting a goal for having 100% battery electric vehicles by 2025 and by the start of 2025. This was not a ban on fossil cars like many people believed. Norway has never really discussed a ban on fossil cars in a serious matter. And I think that's a good thing. If you are at 94% market share and you start saying, okay, now fossil cars are going to be banned, you are just working against your own goal, because 94% is more than good enough in my opinion, and in many others' opinion as well. They actually corrected this 100% EV statement or goal for 2025 in May this year, when they told us that almost 100% is good enough, they said, basically. And they also said that fossil cars will be sold a few more years. And that's the new government in Norway that said this. They also said that the large majority should be electric cars, and we will always have some fossil cars in between, either for like entertainment value, like you have a manual sports car that is gasoline, for example, or you have heavy machinery equipment or heavy long-haul, heavy-duty trucks that uses diesel, for example. Those will always be there. So there has never been a fossil ban in Norway, and it's never really been discussed in a serious matter that we should ban all fossil cars. So that's important to note. So 94%, that's awesome. But what does this mean, and how did we come to this 94% market share? Well, it started with incentives, of course, and I think the incentives in Norway has shown people how it is to live with an electric car. You can't just push incentives, and if people don't find it usable to use the cars, and they don't fit into the day-to-day life, they won't use it no matter the incentives. For example, hydrogen has awesome incentives in Norway. You can just go in the bus lane, and you have no toll roads, and you also have very heavily subsidized hydrogen fuel. But nobody buys hydrogen. It's not really, I don't know, it's not, there are not enough filling stations. You don't know if the filling stations are maintained in a good manner, because there are so few of them. You don't have alternatives like you have with EV charging or fuel pumps. And there are many things that are annoying with hydrogen cars, mostly due to infrastructure and also the ability to fill at home, which I think is the best thing about electric cars. Anyways, I just wanted to say that incentives can help people understand that it's possible to live with these cars, and that it might be better than fossil cars for many people. And I don't think people would have chosen electric cars if it wasn't usable for them, no matter the incentives. Anyways, the incentives are slowly declining in Norway for electric cars, and they have been for years. Last year we got a VAT back for the buying price over 500,000 Norwegian kroners. What this means is that the amount over 500,000 Norwegian kroners, that's about $50,000, will be taxed with a 25% add-on tax, which is a 20% effective tax rate on the amount over 50,000 US dollars or 500,000 Norwegian kroners. Normal cars have this VAT from zero, so they have this 25% tax on, or 20% effective tax rate on this entire buying amount, and they also have like engine and pollutant taxes, mostly introduced into the fuel prices in Norway, which are extremely high, and also into the car motor on when it's registered in Norway. So it's expensive to buy fossil cars in Norway. So electric cars are definitely cheaper, for sure. And they're also cheaper to maintain, and they're also cheaper to charge. They're not just cheaper in upfront cost. So that's awesome. So by doing this, and for so many years, we have had significant electric cars and significant amount of electric cars on Norwegian roads for over 10 years now. And by significant amount, I mean that it's not like hydrogen where you have 14 cars on the road, maybe. It's more like multiple thousand electric cars, and you have had the ability to see how it works, and people can use word of mouth to tell their friends and family how does it work. And you can tell people anything you will want in marketing materials, but nothing is better than organic marketing. So if, for example, a family member says that, I never have to go to gas station, I just plug in at home. That sounds awesome, right? So that might pull some people into electric cars, not just the incentives, even though the incentives have been extremely important to get to where we are today in such a low amount of time. And we see this happening around the world as well. And another thing I want to talk about is plug-in hybrids, because many people believe that's a good middle ground, and it was many years ago. Now today I wouldn't call it a good transition technology. I would just jump to electric car immediately. In the United States, you have had Chevrolet Volt users, which is a plug-in hybrid from GM, which was released very early on. And many people said, I never fill gasoline on my car. I never do it. I just charge at home. Okay, then you have a battery electric vehicle with a complicated combustion drivetrain. Why even have the combustion drivetrain? Just remove it, saves weight, you get longer range, and everything gets better. And that's where EV technology is today. Aside from certain very specific use cases, I think battery electric is the way to go. And I do recommend people who are thinking about plug-in hybrids to think about how often do you really take it on a super long road trip where this would be faster than a battery electric vehicle. And the service costs are higher. There are other associated risks with plug-in hybrids. They are super complicated, even compared to combustion vehicles. It's the most complicated vehicle we have. And since they are produced in a low amount, the high voltage battery, while they are much smaller than in an electric car, they can be just as expensive to replace. And not only that, they are introduced to more charge cycles because it's smaller. So it's more prone to failure. So you have a smaller battery that's more prone to failure and just as expensive to replace as a high voltage battery in an electric car. And this is crazy to think about, that a car battery that's 1/3 or 1/4 of the size of one in an electric car can be just as expensive. But it's not only the capacity and the lithium and the other things you use to produce these batteries, but it's also the manufacturing and how streamlined the manufacturing is. And for many of these hybrid batteries, it's not streamlined at all. You can see old Panameras, which is a Porsche. You can see that they want $10,000 to replace the high voltage battery, or they just don't offer the battery anymore. So it's basically a useless car due to how the drivetrain is set up. So So that's something to consider with a plug-in hybrid vehicle. And I think that also contributes to the actual decline in sales, and that we are at minus 77% from August last year for plug-in hybrid sales. It's falling off a cliff. Nobody wants plug-in hybrids anymore. People want battery electric vehicles. It's also worth noting that plug-in hybrids are taxed very high in Norway as well, and they are really considered a combustion drivetrain before anything else. So, of course, that matters as well. There are many great plug-in hybrids, I would say, and that have come over the last years. Please look at your kind of driving habits. I think a battery electric vehicle will work for much more people than people think themselves. I think it's really, really a great technology with battery electric vehicle, because you have the least amount of complexity in the drivetrain and least amount of things that can go wrong. I think hybrids have the highest repair costs by far. Nothing beats hybrids in repair cost. But you will have lower fuel costs, of course, and especially if you plug in every day like you should. If you can't plug in every day, don't get a plug-in hybrid. Anyways, that was a short segment of the 94% market share for battery electric vehicles, why this is, and the talk about the ban in 2025, which is a common misconception that many get wrong about Norway. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll have another video with a new car very, very soon.